And now it's time for our table talk. The legal right for members of the same gender to marry has become one of the defining socio-political issues of the early 21st century in the United States and has been a subject of debates all over the world. Today we have with us Zoe, who is going to tell us all about your work in this area.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today.
Tell me, how did you get started? What did you do?
Well, I started my activism work on LGBT rights about 20 years ago almost.
What is LGBT?
LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender.
Okay.
And at about 20 years ago, I was a member of the U.S. military, and at that time, you were not allowed to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender in the military, and I thought that was very wrong. And so I came out myself, and when I say coming out, I mean I made public the fact that I was lesbian, and that began a legal battle for me.
So you had to quit being in the military because you were a lesbian?
They wanted to make me quit,
Okay.
but I fought back and I won, so I was actually allowed to continue serving, and that launched my activism around LGBT rights, around both military service as well as you mentioned earlier, marriage.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned offline that you were the very first person to let everybody know that this is,
Well,
who you are. And
there have been others that have come out
Okay.
publicly before me, but I was one of the very few to win my case and actually served as the only openly gay member of the military for 13 years.
Now, what did it really mean to you? I mean, why did you fight that, and why did you think that it was necessary to, continue your effort and bring more awareness of this issue?
Well, the military, I had seen friends, I had seen co-workers, shipmates that were investigated, their lives invaded to try to prove that they were gay or lesbian, and then kicked out, and their lives ruined, their careers ruined. I just thought that was incredibly wrong, and I felt like being gay or lesbian does not in any way minimize your ability to serve your country. I thought it was unfair to kick out people for being gay or lesbian, so I stood up for it and fought.
This is a huge battle. There's a huge divide amongst people whether they should support it or not support it. And I don't know one way or the other what is right or what is wrong. What I think is that you have to give people the freedom to choose who they are and be proud about who they are, right? But about the marriage, okay, there still seems a lot of stigma attached to the marriage part, okay?
Right.
You can openly call yourself a gay couple, but when it comes to marriage, how are you breaking that barrier?
Well, it's difficult. I think the word marriage itself has a lot of cultural and political significance, and
social too.
Social, yeah, absolutely. And so there's certain things people call traditional marriage between a man and a woman. But really, if you break it down, marriage is about two people who love one another and want to support one another through life. And that's exactly what gay and lesbian couples are. They just happen to be of the same gender. From a political and cultural perspective, it is hard to redefine that for some folks in their own mind. But I think if you look at it as just, these are two people who love each other, they want to support one another, allowing two people of the same gender get married doesn't really impact traditional marriage or other people who are married.
Right.
And so that's the differentiation that those of us who are trying to allow gay marriage to happen are trying to make.
now, just recently, the president came out and spoke about it, and he said he's in support of this.
Right.
Was that a big support for your efforts in your organization, and what did that do for you? How did that?
I mean, it was a huge milestone, even though it didn't change any laws,
Sure.
even though it didn't, make a difference maybe technically in the day-to-day lives of gays and lesbians in America. To have the President of the United States, to have the leader of the free world say, this is the right thing to do. This is part of the full integrity of every individual. And we as Americans should allow gays and lesbians to pursue that happiness, I think was a huge step historically, culturally. And it felt like for the first time, we were full citizens. The president kept saying, I've done this for gays and lesbians, I've done that for gays and lesbians, don't ask, don't tell. But he was like, but I think civil unions is what gays and lesbians should do. And separate but equal has never worked in this country. Separate but equal is still discriminatory. And so to have civil right, to have a civil union and not have the right to marry is still undermining gay and lesbian rights. So we wanted the full breadth of marriage.
Let me ask you this. I mean, when you talk to people about gay and lesbian marriages and they do not support you, do you feel anger, or you feel that person is not aware? Are you taking an initiative to build awareness around the subject, Or are you not patient about the fact that there is a huge population that doesn't believe in a marriage between two same-sex?
I guess it sort of depends on why they don't believe in it. I do get frustrated and angry when people, for political purposes, try to minimize and make gays and lesbians seem less than and want to take away our rights from a legal perspective. Culturally, I understand that people have a difficulty adjusting to someone who's different than them, and they're not sure.
Xenophobic.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
less comfortable with it, and that's through education and conversations and getting them to get to know you. But when folks use it for political advantage, that's when I get really impatient and angry.
Till next week, don't forget to spread joy. Chase your wildest dreams. We all have possibilities we don't know about. As Jimmy Carter aptly quotes, we have become not a melting pot, but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, different dreams. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Till then, take care.